Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Brownstone. I'm your host, Dr. Michele, and you are listening to Numbers Don't Lie. We learn to get out your feelings so you can make the best decisions for yourself, your family, and your business. Y'all, I have a special treat. I got somebody in the building that you may not know her today, but come like 10 years, you were like, oh yeah, that's the girl that I heard on Dr. Michele show. Yes, I have one of those people, and I'm so fortunate to have met her. She's actually a real life surgeon. Like, how many of you can say you know a surgeon? I think she's the first one that I can say I know personally. But what actually makes me remember her the most is yes, she has these accolades. And I promise you, I learned something new that she's doing like every time I talk to her. But in everything that she does, she has such a heart for people. I mean, like structuring business entities, thinking about people and how she can help people. I'm like, people ain't doing that. Most of the time, we're looking out for our own bottom line, but she really does care about the people that she's going to serve, as well as those that she's going to work with. Brownstone family, please welcome Dr. Tracy Short.
Hello, Brownstone family. Yes, I'm super excited to be here.
So glad you came. Y'all, she's a busy lady. So the fact that she's here is a big deal.
Yes, I feel like Clark Kent and Superman. It's like, let me get my scrubs off and get podcasts ready for the Brownstone family.
And y'all, that's true because I have seen Dr. Tracy on calls and she is in the scrubs, hair up and everything. So that is so true, y'all.
Yes. But I was like, I got to come correct for these Brownstone fam, you know.
So tell us a little more about Dr. Tracy.
Yes. So again, Dr. Michele, thank you so much for inviting me to be on the podcast because numbers don't lie. And so I'm like, yes, I will totally share my story. So Brownstone family, I am Dr. Tracy. I'm a board certified general surgeon. I am fellowship trained as an adult and pediatric burn surgeon, and I am America's burn surgeon.
Hey.
I am one of 9 Black burn surgeons in the country.
Wow.
And I practice here in Louisiana. And how Dr. Michele and I connected is that I have had this greater calling and purpose on my life that has really manifested in service businesses and a product business. And so, my whole thing is when I see a problem, I create a solution. It's kind of that surgeon in me, right? Surgeons like to fix, like now. And so I see a problem and I'm like, boom, how can we make it happen? So as I mentioned, I'm a burn surgeon. I've been doing that for the past 10 years. In that capacity, I've been leading hospital systems, creating research programs, and training and teaching nurses and medical students. And that's actually what brought me to Dr. Michele is my students expressed the need. They were having a hard time with housing. I remembered what it was like when I was going through training. And what did I do? I created a real estate business. I was like, well, look, I can help fix that. My patients had problems. Like everything I do to people causes pain and anxiety. Grown people cry and kids don't want to come and see me. So when I tried to figure out what could I do that would actually bring joy and make people happy, I created a skincare product, Dr. Shorty's Burn Butter. I created a camp. And, I take pediatric burn survivors to camp where they can learn to live in the skin that they're in. And so literally everything is about how can I leave things better than when I came.
Wow. Y'all, I told her she was amazing. But Dr. Tracy, as you were just talking, you said, when I think of a problem, when I see a problem, you spring into action. You remind me of the type of person that God can really trust with things. It's just like, well, I can keep giving her more because I know she's going to do something with what I gave her. And a lot of times, sometimes we get stagnant or we realize why things aren't working. But it's just like, well, you didn't do what I told you to do. Like I already told you to do this and you're trying to do everything else but what I put in your hands to do. So it's just like whatever he put in your hands to do, whatever problem he allowed you to experience, he knows he can trust you to create a solution. And I love that for you. want it for the world, okay?
Thank you. Yes, I'm using my talents.
I love that. So there may be some, medical aspiring medical professionals, or maybe their parents even listening. Could you tell us about what inspired you to even become like Dr. Tracy?
Yeah. So the crazy thing is I do not know a time when I did not see myself being
Wow.
a doctor. I get to, still talk with my grandma, and she tells me about even when I was 5 and people would ask, oh, what do you want to be when you grow up? I was never, I want to be a ballerina, or I want to be a princess, or I want to go to the moon. Like, I have always said I wanted to be a doctor, and I don't know where it came from, except for the fact that we had good doctors growing up. And so when I first started, I wanted to be a pediatrician, but I think every kid probably starts off wanting to be a pediatrician, because that's the only doctor you really come into contact with as a child. And then it evolved. I wanted to do women's health. And then I thought about family medicine. And when I got into the OR and was like, I can actually fix a problem. Like, I don't have to be dependent upon, did this person take a medicine? Did they do as instructed? But like, can I fix it? And then done. And like, that just like lit something in my spirit.
Like that.
And then the irony was, I didn't go to school or go to training to be a burn surgeon. So
What?
I wanted to be a trauma surgeon because trauma surgeons were cool. Like, you see all the shows about trauma surgeons, and it's like they swoop in, they come in packs, and my spirit just wasn't happy. I just don't like being negative and sad every day. And so as much as people are kind of like, but burns is kind of sad, isn't it, Dr. Tracy? And I'm like, in the moment it is, but it gives you those good feelings when people are like, oh my gosh, you helped me get through this. Or, I trusted when you said that my family member was going to be okay. Or when I see these little kids and they're like, I like my sexy legs. And I'm like, rock them sexy legs. We're giving out candy, that gives me the warm fuzzies. And it's like, this is totally what I'm supposed to be doing.
I love that. Now, I feel like I'm about to go off script here, but it just prompted in me when you said something about being a child and having really good doctors. Did you have like doctors that looked like you growing up?
So we didn't have I don't recall having a Black physician until I was probably about my early teens. And it was my brother's pediatrician. He had really bad asthma growing up, and his asthma doctor was a Black female in a practice of 2 other Black females. And I had never seen that before. That's not what my experience was going to the doctor, and maybe that's where that pediatrician thing came from. And since then, my mom made it an effort to try to find other Black physicians. And I know that I have chosen my OBs and my GYNs very intentionally, to have Black physicians. And right now, the literature supports that theory, because having a Black female physician specifically, but having a Black physician actually decreases mortality right now,
Yeah.
especially when it comes to pregnant women.
That's awesome. Because I'm actually working with someone, and her main interest is maternal health. But
Yes.
there's a stat out there, and it was just talking about population health. And it was just like just one Black doctor in the county. Now, counties can be big, y'all. One Black doctor in the county. I forgot the number. I gotta find it. I'm gonna make sure I put it in the description box when I find it. But
Yes.
it like doubled, or like it increased the outcome, like everybody, not just Black constituents,
Yes. Yes.
everybody's health benefited from having just one Black doctor. So that's why
Yes.
representation matters. And that's
It
why being able to
matters.
like quantify that stuff matters. So we can see like, okay, like I understand now why certain
Mhm.
people want to have a Black doctor. They want to feel heard. They don't want to die giving during
Correct.
childbirth.
Correct. And, I think it's one of those things where, as Black people, right? So whether you're seeing a Black male physician or a Black female physician, we know what it's like not to be seen, And so therefore, I think we go above and beyond to be certain that all of our patients feel seen. So therefore, on whatever spectrum of life you live, you can feel comfortable because we know what it's like to not reside in the middle and the average. Therefore, everyone is comfortable in those practices.
That is good right there. I can concur. And I feel like it's a similar statistic for Black teachers as well. So it doesn't just benefit the Black students, it really does benefit all students. Just like you said, like Black males are so marginalized and mistreated. So just like now I want all my students to feel seen. I want all of them to feel heard. That's beautiful.
Yes.
I love that.
Making a difference, girl. We are making a difference.
And it's with what you just being yourself. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to try. Like, you're just doing something that just comes natural to you. So I love that. It's like, you can just wake up and just make a difference.
Yeah. But you know what I think that comes from? I think it comes from being grounded and coming from a place where this isn't what life has always been, right? It's one of those things, family will make you stay humble. You may be a Nobel Prize winner and your mom is still like, but I still call you Tracy. Right. And when I call, you better answer the phone. So I think it's one of those we are all people. We are all doing the job that we are intended to do in this moment. Therefore, one job's no more important than the other. And that's actually why I went into burn. So with burns, it's all about multidisciplinary care, meaning every person that takes care of a burn patient plays a role in that patient having the best outcome. So that includes dietary, that includes nursing, therapy, speech therapy, the arts and medicine program, the surgeons, the family, and then the patient themselves. And so if everyone's not doing their part, you're not getting a good outcome. So therefore, my part's no more important than someone else's part. It really is about team working together to get a good outcome.
I love that.
Keeping it locked to KCCR Radio.
My station.
The Brownstone Center. And don't forget, no matter where you go, there we are.
You are listening to Numbers Don't Lie with me, Dr. Michele, and I have my very special guest, Dr. Tracy Short. You're listening to us on Brownstone Worldwide and KCCR, the Brownstone. You can follow us on Brownstone Worldwide on Facebook as well as YouTube. Make sure you download the KCCR app. You can actually listen to it on the go on your phone. And then check out Brownstone Worldwide. We have tons of things coming up. We have a cruise coming up, an all-inclusive cruise at that, okay? You ain't got to be nickel and dime. You can go and have fun with your girls and not worry about anything. We have a block party coming up. So many things happening in the Brownstone, but you have to go to brownstoneworldwide.com to check it out. Okay, Dr. Tracy, I want to now get into how you and I met and how we're working together. So could you tell us more about your program and like what inspires you? Because I know you gave us a little bit about what inspired you to create it. So let's say, tell us more about your program and an example of how it's positively impacted some students.
Yeah, so, one of the things that I think played the biggest role is recognizing that we can truly walk in our purpose and make good professional decisions when we're not chained by student loan debt and student loan burden. And so one of the things that I have heard over and over and over is people choosing what they want to do in life, not based on what they feel called to do and what gets them up in the morning and what they would do for free, but for what is that profession that will help get me out of this student loan burden the fastest. And so one of the things that I think may be contributing to that physician burnout. So what do I mean by physician burnout? There is a unfortunate movement right now where doctors are not feeling that warm and fuzzy why we became doctors, because medicine has really become more business-like, right? But at the heart of why we became physicians, it was about people. And so when you're not getting that people part and you're not feeling valued in the profession, you make decisions that you probably wouldn't have made otherwise. And so I had some medical students on my service, and they were telling me about their experience on these rotations, and they were spending like $3,000 a month, $3,500 a month in housing
What?
costs for a 6-week rotation. Okay. Now, the average medical student burden when it comes to student loans, I believe, is around $275,000 is what you come out of training with, right? But majority of that is from housing and
What?
living related expenses, because
Yeah.
unlike most grad programs, you don't work when you're in med school.
Right.
You are truly reliant on student loans, or for those of you who didn't have to worry about student loans, maybe you got that extra, monies coming in from the parents, the trust funds, the, whatever, believe me, I'm trying to make it that way for my nephews, right? I'm like, no love lost. But the truth of the matter is a large amount of money is spent on housing costs. And when I'm thinking about how can we justify a person who's making no money to spend $3,500 every 6 weeks, that just doesn't make sense to me. So what did I say I do? I create solutions.
Yep.
So I take single family homes and turn them into multifamily money by decreasing living expenses close to centers where students would be rotating. And so I started the concept with a single student just to test it. I polled them to find out, would they be amenable to sharing a house and having housemates? And then I provide the solutions to all of those barriers that they had to the idea of shared housing. So essentially, I create small medical school dorms in single family homes where they're rented by the room. It provides for all of their utilities, so they're not turning on utilities, paying deposits, and then moving in 6 weeks. It's got furniture, so they don't have to, scour Craigslist. And it keeps them from pulling up on some shady spots that they found online and walked into a house that had no locks on any doors. And, as a 20-something-year-old female sharing a house with a stranger, that's not safe. And we need to do better. So I have friends and neighbors who open their home, and we rent out all the extra rooms that people could have. So my neighbor has a guest bedroom, and she'll let female students stay in there. I've now made it to a total of 10 doors in 3 properties that I have available. And right now we're looking at expanding into 2 other cities outside New Orleans and in Philadelphia. Because there's med students everywhere. So anywhere students rotate, my goal is to try to find someone who is trustworthy and will allow students to occupy some of their space.
I love that. And while we're on this topic, just in case you don't make it to the end of this episode, Dr. Tracy, for those of you that are listening that said, man, I have extra space, I live near, not too far from a medical center, how can I get involved? How can they reach out to you?
Yes. So I am looking to expand that network, because the bigger I can expand my network, the more students that can be impacted. And then the more physicians that are out there to help and serve the Brownstone community. So if you go to helpstudentslivcheap.com, there will be an online survey. When you click the survey, I will appreciate that information. The team will reach out, and then we will work with trying to connect you with a good fit. We can help you if your room is already ready, or let's say you're like, oh, my house doesn't look like HGTV. That's all right, boo. We got you. We can help get it where it needs to go. If it's already ready, then hey, reach out. So helpstudentslivcheap.com.
I love that. I mean, I was like, oh, do I live near somewhere? And I actually do. Like here in Columbia, South Carolina, we have a medical center. It's right next to the VA. So we have the med school. Then literally, I think they can walk to each other.
Yes.
Yeah. So
here's an interesting tip, right? Numbers don't lie.
Mm-hmm.
So I love procuring education in all places. And I was watching a TED Talk, and a gentleman was talking about utilization of space in our homes.
Mm-hmm.
And regardless of your home's size, the average household only utilizes 50% of the square feet of the home. So
I
all those guest bedrooms that people were saving for family to come, all
don't
those
come.
dining rooms for the Thanksgiving dinners you didn't hold, there is space. That basement, the garage apartment, you name the pool house, you name it, there is some space that can be utilized.
I love that, but you're right. We say we want a house and then we won't invite nobody over. I'm kind of
You're like,
guilty.
nah, I'm done with them.
I'm kind of like very selective who I want to come over. I'm like, nah, I don't want them to come.
It's like, I'll meet you out.
To your house. That's awesome. So Brownstone community, and please reach out to her if this truly interests you, because one thing I love about it is that she said, literally one of the first things she said is, I can make money. So she's helping students, but she's also able to make money, because I think that's a misconception that when you're helping people, you always have to do it for free, or you got to be poor to be, a generous, charitable person. Like, no, you can do both. You can be compensated for your service.
Yes. And so I have a hard time with that. So I'm glad you say that, because that is a thing that I have struggled with. And so what I looked at it is I can't provide a service to make it easier and better if I can't keep things running and operating, because I'm trying to do it for free. But at the same time, I'm not trying to become the next 10x, right? I'm not trying to, make my whole salary off of these rooms. And so therefore I am able to say, you know what? Some extra pocket change isn't bad, right? It's paying the bills. It's cheaper than what they would have needed to pay. And right now with the travel nurse movement, the short-term rentals are expensive, right? Med students don't have that money. They don't have companies paying for it. But yes, I can help you put money in your pocket off of space that you're already paying rent and mortgage on.
I mean, what? That sounds like a win-win to me. That's what I
Those
say.
are some good numbers, Dr. Michele.
Okay. That's what I say about data. I'm like, you already have it. Let me help you make money with it. Like,
yes,
you already have it.
Yes.
So talk to us about how we met, and how we ended up working together, because you were like, I really want to quantify the impact of this program, because I don't think people really understand all of what you do with these students. So talk to us about, why is that so important to be able to say this is the impact that we're making on these students?
Right. So the first and foremost, right, that's the name of the podcast, the numbers part. So if we can show that by providing housing that is affordable, and I can now decrease that student loan burden so that we have more physicians that are going into primary care, more physicians that are going into the specialties that are deemed or don't make as much as some of the more specialized fields. Remember, you said you only needed one per county. So imagine if your hometown had that one who could not make the choice to do something because they were on the fence about, can I pay back my student loan debt? So the first thing that we met was, how can I quantify, do we save them money? How much money do we save them? And then on the back end, did that savings help you make a decision that you wouldn't have made otherwise? And so, we were geeking out over the numbers, because that's what we do. And, one of the things that, Dr. Michele then took it that next one, she goes, well, what about, did this affect their work power? Did it affect their decisions? And so one of the things that I did, and didn't even realize the impact of it, was we do almost mentoring and coaching with the students that are in the program. So I've written letters of recommendation for students that have come through. We've had casual conversations about the business side of medicine. So what's not known is that oftentimes physicians are taken advantage of when we enter into the workforce. Because remember, docs have not really worked before we finished training. We went to high school. We went straight from high school into college. Many did not work because the studies are very rigorous. We went straight from college into med school into training. So that whole real world experience is lacking by many health professionals, and the systems, the hospital administrative systems, they know this.
Wow.
And so unfortunately, the data about how many people are in their first job after 2 to 3 years is pretty low, because we get into the business of medicine, and it's not that art and science of medicine that we were taught. And so one of the things that these students in my program, we talk about the business. That way you're not blindsided the very first time you go to find your first job. We talk about contracts. We provide the books that provide the education beyond the education, right? And so my goal is really to prepare these students for what being a physician is really like. So not only can they save money, not only can they have a safe, clean home to live in while they're in this learning environment, but they're also better prepared when they come out.
Wow. Yeah. Whoo, child. Y'all getting a piece of the conversations that Dr. Tracy and I get to have. And I tell y'all every single time, I'm like, she is so awesome. So again, if
Thank
this
you, girl.
is speaking to you, and you know you want to be a blessing to students, you have a heart for young people, please reach out to Dr. Tracy. I mean, because what she said is not only just the saving money through housing. We're talking about what we call in epidemiology, it's called social capital. And that's that thing where it's like it's not what you know, it's who you know type of thing. That's what it's called. It's like I'm connected to you, so I'm able to get here. And so that social capital can't be bought. It's that proximity that we're talking about. It's that knowledge that they get to learn outside of school that helps them even more than some of the content they learned in school. So yes, again, I'm probably gonna keep saying this to the rest of the episode. We almost at the end, but
Preach,
yeah,
sis. You got an amen.
Yes. Okay, real quick. Tell us what's next, because you got some big things happening. Give us a little sneak peek of what's up of your sleeve.
So remember, I'm a solutions gal. And so I am a burn surgeon, and I've recently, for the past 6 years, have developed this niche in taking care of people who probably have close to being the worst traumatic skin condition that is out there. And people think burns are bad, and they are. But I also take care of a group of people who have a disease called hidradenitis suppurativa. Yes, it is a mouthful. I don't expect you to remember it. It just goes by HS. So I take care of this group of patients that there's no specialty that's designated for taking care of them. And one of the things I've discovered over this 6 years is there's some similarities to how I take care of my burn patients that is improving the quality of life for these HS patients. So on the horizons, you may be finding a special place where people who have traumatic skin can come, and 1, they can get care, and 2, they can actually now help to guide where the field of traumatic skin management is going.
Wow.
So stay tuned. The updates will be at Dr. Tracy MD on Instagram. But the Traumatic Skin Institute is coming soon. Details will be revealed. I'm excited. If you have HS, if you've previously been burned, if you've got issues with scarring, like this will be the place for you to find some guidance and help.
I love that. Dr. Tracy, thank you so much for coming. Tell us, if they didn't hear it, how can they find you?
Yes. So the easiest way to get in touch is at Dr. Tracy MD. I am on all social platforms, but IG is my fave right now. I will actually get back to you. You can send some DMs and they will actually get replied to. So at Dr. Tracy MD is how you can find out what's the latest. And I look forward to hearing from all of y'all.
And that's Tracy, Tracee. Okay, because you know Tracy spelled by 5 different ways. She got
You're right.
And you can find me, Dr. Michele, on Instagram. That's one of my favorites too, at Mogul Beginnings. That's MOGUL, Mogul Beginnings, Instagram and Facebook. A little bit on TikTok. I just be scrolling, but you know, if you find me there, we connect. But you also want to check out Brownstone Worldwide. I got some articles. I actually got something coming out. I'm going to be on the cover of the next edition.
Oh,
girl. So y'all heard it here first, okay?
yeah.
So make sure you go to brownstoneworldwide.com and check out Brownstone Living Magazine. You can subscribe very cheaply, or you can also advertise as well. So for all my business owners out there, there's a way for you to reach your brown audience. Okay. Well, again, thank you so much, Dr. Tracy. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thank you so much for inviting. I'm glad that I could come and chat with the Brownstone family.
Me too. Have a great rest of your day, guys.